there are various types of testing. We saw that there are functionality testings and non-functional testing. Functionality testing is about testing the features, the functions. And in that, there is another group called regression testing team, or there is a testing activity called regression testing. What is regression testing? Regression testing happens as follows. Supposing there is a software. Normally, in the software, there are some 100 important features. 1, 2, 3, 4, 100 important features are there. If you write test cases for these 100 and test, all the 100 will pass. So that is the system which is already running. Now, customer has given an enhancement request. Some additional feature is to be added. So there will be a development team who will understand the existing system and they will add additional code for these additional features. Now, after doing all the additional work, now the old code will be removed and the new code together with the additional features will be loaded. When you load this, the code has to change. The old code satisfied all the 100 existing functionalities. Because you are going to add another new feature, you have changed the entire code. In some places, of course, you take the same old code, but you make changes here and there and add some new code and create a new build. When this new build is deployed, we will have to first verify whether all the 100 old functionalities are there. Because the addition of the new feature shouldn't have damaged the existing features. So, for those 100 features, you will have to do the testing again. So that is called the regression testing. So, during enhancements, regression testing is to verify if all the existing functionalities continue even after adding the new functionalities. So, regression testing will ensure that the new functionality has not damaged any of the existing functionalities. So that is what is called regression testing. So regression testing is also a functionality testing, a feature testing. Now let us look at non-functional testing. The popular example of non-functional testing is performance testing. Performance of the system. For doing every business transaction, the time taken must be within the limit. So it may be the problem in your system, or it may be the problem in the hardware, operating system, network. So performance testing will make sure that the business performance goals are satisfied. Similarly, load testing. So if a particular loan application is a feature, everybody can apply for the loan. But if State Bank of India has some thousands of offices all over India, if everybody is entering the data, will it hold the load? Because there is a central server. So all the people are pumping the data. So it must hold the load. So that is called load testing. Concurrently, how many people can use it? Up to what level? For example, if the customer might have given a requirement as concurrently, it must do 1000 concurrent requests. For example, in the branch, you are going and asking for balance inquiry. You give your passbook to the clerk will enter your account number and click what is the balance. So the requirement will be captured in the front end and it will go to the back end. At the back end, there will be a server running. That server program is called find account balance. So when the account number is given as a request, the response has to be, this is the balance, for which they will use the database. Now, this is for one request. Concurrently, if 1000 people are requesting, the backend will have to hold the load. That must serve the load. So that is called load testing. So before giving it to the customer and the customer complaining that no, it is not working, the development team will have to create 1000 concurrent requests, pump it and get it done. For that, there are several tools available. Similarly, stress testing, stability testing, scalability testing, you develop it for 100 people, and afterwards, if the number of customers increases, will the system hold? So there are these are all various types of testings, but that come under the non-functional testing. In the software development process, normally there may be hundreds of developers working on a complex project. So the entire system will be divided into smaller systems, and each system will be developed separately. Now, one programmer will be given a particular task. So he will develop the code and do something called unit testing. Unit testing is the testing done by the developer himself. So the developer will have to develop, test it himself, whether that is working with all possible combinations of data, and if it is satisfied, he will check in the code. Now, there are some 100 people who have developed 100 pieces of code. Now, all of them must be pulled together, integrated, and it must be working. That is called integration testing. So, integration testing normally will involve multiple programs. So you create a request, and that request is going to the database and stored, and another person is able to access the code and test. So that sort of integrated functionalities are tested. That's called integration testing. So in integration testing, people will create test cases for you do this and this, so that the database is changed. Now you do this, and now you verify whether you are getting a different result. Each component has been developed by different people. Now you put them together and you must make sure that the system works. That is called integration testing. Then there is something called system testing. System testing is bigger than the integration testing. So you are testing a large software and everything has been developed now. Now end-to-end testing, that is why we call it end-to-end testing. So in a business scenario, normally I worked for a telecom company. What we do is, in the end-to-end testing, we develop a new customer and verify whether in the database the data entries are there. Then we create an account for him. Then we create a service for him, for example, mobile phone. Then we create some usages for him. Now he has started using. Then the call detailed records will be generated. Now we will run the bill and verify whether the bill is generated and it is going. So in a business, there is a end-to-end flow. Create a customer, create an account, create a service, provision the service, and then start using. At the end of the month, you create a bill and make a payment for that. So all these things are called end-to-end scenario. End-to-end scenario. So the end-to-end scenario will be tested. So they will create some 10 or 20 end-to-end business cases and then test whether everything is happening. That is called system testing. There is something called user acceptance testing. See, user, the customer, the end user community, they are a part of the business team. So they have given you the requirements. You are doing the unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and you feel that everything is ready for delivery. Once the development team and the testing team agree that everything is done, you will have to satisfy the users. So what they will do is, they will create a set of test cases similar to what the user is going to use. And they will give those test cases to the end users, people who are doing the business, and they will ask their time one day to run all these things and verify whether they are satisfied. If there are 100 test cases, the users will sit and one day test whether these 100 test cases are passed. If all the 100 are passed, they will say that yes, now you can go ahead. Then it will be rolled out. So this is called user acceptance testing. Similarly, in the testing side, there are various terminologies used: smoke test, sanity test, confidence testing. See, when you deploy a new build, we do something called a smoke testing. Smoke testing is quickly doing some testing, whether there is any gross problem because you have changed something and you are replacing it with a new build. That is called smoke testing or sanity testing. Simply doing one or two testing. So just testing one or two features. So that is called smoke testing, sanity testing, confidence testing. In some companies, once the build is put up, similar to user acceptance testing, there is a proper testing procedure called build verification testing. So these are all changing from company to company. It depends upon the companies. This is about the testing approach. In some companies, they do only black box testing. So the testing team will not bother about what is inside the code. So they will just give this input and verify whether you get the output. If it doesn't get, they will say that it is not. So that is called black box testing. In the case of white box testing, the testers have some understanding of what is inside the code. So they will give and they will find out up to what level it is going. So when you give something, of course, if the output is wrong, but up to what extent it goes. So they will identify. So that is called black box testing and white box testing. In between, there are some companies where they do something called gray box testing. They are neither black box nor white box, but a little gray level. Up to some extent they do. These are all terminologies used in the testing industry.